Okay, so this is a brief video to explain to you how to navigate our course. Since it is virtual and online, you need to know where you need to go to find things. So you first log into MyCourses, you're going to see something similar to this, which has the list of all the classes that you're taking this semester. Our class is going to be one of the survey of world history sections you have here, either 9 or 11, depending on which course you're in. I'm going to go to 9, since it's the one I have set up right now. When you click on it, it's going to bring you up to our home page, and this is what the home page looks like. I have our welcome announcement, which is already here. It already has the long explanation of the syllabus video, as you hopefully will have seen by now. If not, please go to this and watch it, and a brief encapsulation of everything that I've already said in a variety of these videos, as well as what I consider to be basically the point of history. What I mostly want you to do right now, though, are these. This is your toolbar at the top that has your important things in it. For our purposes, the majority of what you're going to be looking at is content, activities. When you click on activities, it's going to give you the page where your assignments are. It's going to give you the discussion page, and it's going to give you the quizzes page. These are the big three. This is where the discussions are that you're going to go to every week. The first discussion topic's already posted. Well, they're all posted. And they are set up so that you have access to that discussion board up until noon of the day that it's due, right? But what that means is it's still due on that Thursday. By midnight, your top post is, and then you have the 3 days from the time you post your top post on Thursday until Monday at noon to post 3 peer responses, right? So these are how they are. You're going to come down here and you're going to click on that, and it's going to let you post, right? All right. So again, through activities, that's the discussions. Assignments. I already have this loaded. This is where your primary source analyses are going to go. There's also down here a pre-approved late work Dropbox that you will have access to only if I have given you permission to submit there. So it is there in case something comes up and you can't get your primary source analysis in the day that it's due, and you have emailed me ahead of time to let me know that there's a legitimate reason. If that's the case, then I will say, okay, yeah, just submit it to the approved late work Dropbox as soon as you can. All right. And then quizzes, which is actually where your midterm and your final are located, right? When you go here, ignore some of these things because you wouldn't be able to see them, but like your midterm, your final, both of these are already set up and loaded. They'll be accessible to you in the days that you have to take them, but this is where they're going to be in that area. All right. Zoom, though, is where you're going to go to meet at whatever time on Monday or Wednesday your class is meeting. For section 9, this is going to start effectively at 3:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays. For section 11, it's going to start at 5. And you're going to go here to the page titled Zoom. The meetings are going to be listed here. And you will click on the enter. For you, it's going to be enter. It's not going to be start because I start them. If you miss a meeting, the previous meeting tabs will have it there, or the cloud recordings will have it there. You don't need to worry about those because those are ones I used to set up the first meeting. In fact, I'm going to delete those, but you will be able to go to these areas and see previous recordings. You won't be able to get the extra credit participation because you weren't at the meeting, but that would be where you would go to see them. All right, and this is where you go when you're going to join us. All right, so that gets you through the activities in the Zoom to see your grades. You'll click on the grade thing. I'm not going to go there because it gives the whole class for me. Class list, which I think you also have. If you need to email me, this is one of the places you can go to do it. If you want to email or talk to fellow students, that would be where you'd go for that. For now, though, I want to go to content because this is the important area that's going to show you effectively how the course is laid out. All right, the most important stuff in the beginning, this is where you're going to have your syllabus, the discussion rubric, all the stuff that I'm actually going to have posted in that first welcome announcement, and also that I will email to you. If you lose any of that, it's going to be right here, along with some other things like bias and historiography. On Monday, we're going to talk about those things. How and when to cite, very important. I'll probably email it to you many times because a lot of you, especially during this early part, will have difficulty with that. This is a general explanation of how to do it. Sample discussions for how to do how to post a sample discussion to the discussion boards, and then how to do the primary source analysis. Both of these are located right here as well as some videos. In fact, this particular video is going to be located here. It'll also be attached to the welcome announcement, so you can see it there, and I'll also email it to you. But if you want more information on plagiarism, which we will talk about in depth, it is here. If you want more information on the differences between primary, secondary, and tertiary sources, it's going to be here. Also, cognitive bias, because again, on Monday, we're going to be talking about bias, particularly unconscious bias, which is what, as critical thinkers, you will be introduced to and expected by the end of the course to understand how to take into account, right? And then research ideas, critical thinking, information and links, how to frame researchable questions, writing a thesis, making an argument, things like that, which we'll be talking about as we go through the course as well, and as you're writing the paper. And then how to study for the tests, and extra information on studying civilizations in general, particularly crash course videos. I love the crash course videos. Very good supplemental. For your discussions, you'll need to have a source that you choose, a multimedia source. A lot of people do look to the crash course videos or to other YouTube videos from the Cynical Historian and other really good online videos that help frame a lot of the issues that we'll be talking about. All right, so this is the most important stuff section, which is literally at the top of your content page. It's this first thing under table of contents. When you click on it, like I said, this is what you're going to see. The folders under it are all the ones that I just mentioned. You can click on any one of those and go straight to it. But then the more important parts to this are going to be when you get into each one. Each of these weeks mirrors the weeks listed on your syllabus in that chart. Where it says see online, this is where you go to see online. For week 1, this first week, this is my general introduction, but it also is going to give you the required readings here. They'll also be in the discussion top post, and it's all copied and pasted. If you are using one of the 3 physical textbooks, either the Bentley, the Strayer and Nelson, or the von Sivers, and I will always refer to the textbooks by the authors who wrote them, not by their titles, so get used to that. If you're using one of those 3, then you're going to go to whatever the first chapter is and read it. If you're using either of the online books, the Cordes et al. At OpenStax or the Berger at OpenALG, you're going to read the chapters linked, chapter 1 and chapter 2 in Cordes, and chapter 1 on prehistory in Berger. You will also, as your secondary reading for this first week, be reading the Encyclopedia Britannica article on the Stone Age or the Neolithic period, right? So for your first discussion, the sources you'll be using are whichever textbook, chapter, or chapters you're using, because again, you only need one. You only need to read either the first chapter of Bentley or the first chapter of Strayer and Nelson or the first chapter of von Sivers or the first 2 chapters of Cordes, they're shorter, or the first chapter here, chapter 1 of Berger. You're going to have that plus the Britannica entry for the Neolithic period linked here, and for that first discussion, you're going to have whatever multimedia you choose to use, right? The other one is going to be this one from Harari's Homo sapiens, the Cognitive Revolution, chapters 1 through 4. And these are very important. These are among, anytime there's a required reading, it'll be listed here. Well, in fact, there'll be a secondary required reading every week. It will be listed here, or it will be linked up here in the top so that you can get to it, right? So for week 1, it's going to be these, Cognitive Revolution, and your multimedia that you're going to be using for your discussion post, right? And again, that discussion post is due on Thursday night by midnight. We will talk about that again as we go through and as we meet on Monday and we talk about the layout of the course and introduction to these concepts like historiography and so forth on Monday, right? All right, and again, for each week, like when you get to week 2, civilizations, first ones, again, here are the required readings, whichever one of the textbooks you have, as well as Diamond's chapter 4 and 5, which are linked here, and still Harari's Cognitive Revolution, still linked here as well, right? So again, lots of reading and writing in the course, but then that's the nature of how we study history, right? The other thing that I would point out to you in each week, again, this is week 2, is not only do you have your brief introduction here, as well as your list of the required readings and where to find them, I also have PowerPoints, and some of these PowerPoints I'll be using in class to complement what we're talking about. I'll try to use those on Wednesdays when we're kind of leading into the general history that you need to have and to be thinking about. But these PowerPoints are going to be located in each week as well, so you'll be able to find them on your own. And then other extra things. These are interesting things that I found that I think are very necessary or at least supplemental for what we're talking about. And then each week has a section of primary sources. Now I'm going to point out these are to help you if you have chosen a textbook that does not have primary sources in it. My recommendation would be that you use one of the printed textbooks that include sources, hence the reason those are the ones that I've linked in the syllabus with the ISBNs. If you choose not to do that, though, if you're using either the online textbooks or if you're using what is called a brief textbook, as in you go down to the bookstore and they have Strayer and Nelson brief Ways of the World Volume 1 and you get that, well, it doesn't have the sources in it. It's got the same history information, but it doesn't have the set aside section that is just the sources. If you're using that and you have to find your own primary sources, then you can look to the primary sources in the weeks that I have them posted here. Now for your first primary source paper, you don't have to worry about it because I've already got them linked in there. I've listed 9 in that first primary source paper, of which you need to pick a minimum of 3 to use. These, though, are also good, I think, for helping you understand as we go along what primary sources are. So if you're curious as to what primary sources are, you can look in that folder on the content page in each of the weeks, right? Same thing applies here, and you can see them, like as I said, on week 3, the required readings, as well as in the introduction here, what you need to be reading for that week. Then the other required readings, but also PowerPoints, extras on China, extras on India, and then the primary sources. So, all right, so this is basically how our course operates. Again, this is where you're going to start each week. I encourage you to go to the content page each week because of all the other supplemental fun things that it has. But then again, as I said, if you want to just go straight to the discussion is going to have listed again all the same sources that you need, as well as links to the secondary sources. So you can go there if you don't want to go to the content page. I just think the content page is good because it's got all the extra added things. So bear that in mind. If you have questions, obviously go to the class list and email me. You can do that straight through the MyCourses site. It'll come to my email the same way it would if you went to your email and emailed me directly. Especially if you have questions, that's a good place to go. You can see your mail here, or also it sends it to your GGC email as well. This is the subscription alerts. There's a chat function in here as well. I don't tend to use it as much, but if something comes up and I need to get in touch with you, I will go and email you through this. And also I will post on our homepage, I will post an announcement if something comes up and I'm not going to be able to make class. So it's going to be right here where you're going to see it first. So your calendar already set up with when everything's due, right? I would point out that these are when week 2 ends, not when the top post is due. The top post is always due on Thursday. The discussion board itself, though, your ability to post peer responses will end at noon on Monday. So you want to be sure you don't miss out on that, right? All right. If you have questions, again, just email me. I will hopefully though, see you in our Zoom meeting on Monday at either 3:30 or 5, depending on which class you're in. Thank you.